grab your popcorn, grab your decapitated head, get your butter, get your bag of blood. This is the 2022 edition of the 31 Days of Dread, where Peter A. DeLuca, aka Pad, your boy here, the film buff, does one horror movie a day, and that's me talking. I'm your host. I'm not a vampire. I'm almost a zombie because I've just been doing nothing but watching these movies so I can discuss them all with you. But here it is, the 31 Days of Dread. Everyone, I am so excited to bring you these movies. We're doing modern day horror for the first time ever. We're barely even going to hit 2021. We're going to focus on 2022. So roll over in that coffin and let's go. AKA Powders, welcome to another installment of the 31 Days of Dread 2022 edition. I know we're deep in 2023 already, but look, we're talking horror. We're getting into the guts, this final run here, and I know I tease we're done with the 31 Days of Dread, but we have to talk about Menu. The reason why we have to talk about The Menu is this is a movie that works as all horror should. This is a movie that reflects ourselves. We see ourselves in this movie. The cast, every single member of this cast and the characters that they portray, we are one of those characters at one time or another. This is also a fantastic ensemble piece. This is also fantastically cinematography by Peter Deming. We have Mark Malloy. If you're into Succession, if you're into Game of Thrones, he comes from that HBO line of incredible episode directors. We have Ray Fiennes. Ray Fiennes is potentially in a Oscar-worthy supporting actor nomination that didn't quite get it. He should have. But so many of these movies that we're talking to this year for the 31 Days of Dread, the reason why I'm sticking to it, and I know I'm repeating myself, is everything runs through horror. All the conversation, all the big ideas, and the playgrounds for our creators happens in horror when it comes to cinema. Comedy, dead, pun intended. Drama, dead, pun intended. The desperation of dramas versus comedy is LOL. At least there's been some humorous movies filter through the current state of Hollywood, but we've really had no good dramas. Why do I like this movie so much? Why is this movie a flat-out awesome recommendation? Nicholas Hoult, Hoult. Nicholas Hoult, the Beast from the X-Men franchise, or the second Beast for that matter, or from Jack and the Beanstalk. This guy, he plays a character. His death, and I alluded to this with the last episode. His death in this movie. He hangs himself. He's told to hang himself. He's told to kill himself by Ray Fiennes. I use this scene, I use the analysis of this scene to test really how well people receive, view, and even like be a little bit critical when it comes to movies. I'd like to test how they view that scene, and I measure against it. Since I've seen it, I've raised the question a lot. I really haven't had a good response other than me and myself, but maybe we'll talk about that scene with a different type of show, different type of discussion down the road. Because if you're listening to this, if you're hanging out with me for the first time, I want you to see The Menu, and I really want you to see what the internet hype is all about. One of the reasons this movie caught fire is the cast and the characters that they play. They reflect so much of ourselves. So many of us are these characters at one time or another. I'm sure you can watch this movie once a year, and every single time you watch this movie, you connect with a different character in this movie. It's a success for that reason. It's interactive for that reason. The Menu, as horror being reflective of our society, is accurate, and it's there, and it's one of those reasons why this movie got flung to the wall and it's stuck. Also, of note for The Menu is its social media reach. As soon as it hit HBO Max, people went bonkers. People fell in love with this movie immediately. It became a topic of discussion, and the reason for that is so much of social media is also food. But I was there, people. I was there with the rise of food culture. I was there as a kid up late at night drawing my comic books, watching the Discovery Channel, watching all of those offbeat how-to cook shows and trying to teach myself. I'm not joking, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, waking up my family, trying to cook in the kitchen, trying to figure out how to do what I saw the people on TV doing. And it's also, people forget, Iron Chef was a late night show for the longest time before it became this American institution. Iron Chef is still the greatest of all these cooking reality shows, or chef reality shows, or restaurant reality shows, whatever you want to call them. But so many of us now, we follow chefs, we follow restaurants, we are foodies. We're more connected to food now than probably we've ever been. All the mystery, all the walls are broken down. It's so easy to find what's new in your city, or what's a new nook, or what's undiscovered until it does hit social media, just like the menu. But the menu is worth watching on so many levels. I'll tell you, too, our girl, Magic from New Mutants, Anya Taylor-Joy, this girl is incredible. Just to, like, her screen presence. There's few women that literally, like, captivate me when I see them on screen. To their features and the way that they're lit, or that they're that lightable, that a cinematographer like Peter Deming, who goes all the way back to Evil Dead 2. You get actors that have features, they become playgrounds for the lighting crew. Her whole character, her whole performance, her revelation lands, it sticks, it stays with you. The ending of this movie is to be analyzed and thought about, and rightfully so. There's a lot of what I mean when I say that the menu is I feel like an idiot calling it the menu, but the menu is interactive, and I feel it to be, I just feel that's an absolutely accurate description of the movie. And let's get into some of the box office. The budget for this movie was $30 million. It feels like a $50-60 million movie. It feels $50 million just from the cast alone. This movie just has a big studio, big budget presence, but for only $30 million, amazing. $80 million is the budget. So, we can probably roll in some extra for marketing, but the marketing that this movie got on its own, you cannot buy, and it is a testament to what happens with stream. Movies can be successful in the theater, and that's great. And it's hard to gauge what the success of movies are living in a post-COVID world. But, we're all here. Jeez, sorry, guys. I just made myself a little depressed. Just realizing we're living in a post-COVID world. But the actual success of movies now, it's more dynamic. It's like a lot of peanuts. It takes a lot of peanuts to feed an elephant. And when we look at the success of movies, the menu is a great example to how complex it is. Because if a movie does shoot for the stars and hits the moon, and goes viral and gets people talking and is somewhat of a top movie also, but it doesn't go viral because it's a top movie. It goes viral for different reasons, because we've had, you can argue that Smile going viral was for the luck of that movie, but we want movies like The Menu to go viral because we want as many eyeballs on this flick as possible, so we can see how audiences receive the movie and how they view some of the circumstances within the characters of this movie. Because, again, it's reflective of ourselves, and that's why this movie is important. And relatively, if we have to get into the plot, and I hate kind of getting into the plot sometimes, we have a top restaurateur, Chef Slowick. He runs this island restaurant. It's invite only, or only the top tier people go there, and we have 5 or 6 separate tables, 5 or 6 2 tables, so we have about 10 characters. Each of these tables represents a different slice of life, different slice of this elite life. But Ray Fiennes, Chef Slowick, has a different alternative for what he wants to do with tonight's guests. they themselves are a part of the meal. They're a part of the storyline. He's known for this, but they don't realize how intricate they are to this point that Chef Slowick wants to make, and how Tyler, Nicholas Hoult, is us. He represents us in this movie. But when he goes, we have Anna Taylor-Joy come in as Margaret, and Margaret, she puts a stamp on this movie. She sees into Ray Fiennes. She sees into the chef, is able to get out alive. Spoiler there. I'm so sorry. I know I said I wanted you to watch this movie, but her survival is equally as conversational as the fate of everyone else in this restaurant. This movie deserves endless analysis. It deserves endless conversation, and I am happy to bring it to you because it's a top-tier Hollywood movie that plays out like a top-tier Hollywood movie should. AKAPAD here, signing out. I love you guys. Rock and roll. The future of film is horror, and thanks for all of that, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me. Getting back to my point there, the future is horror. The future of cinema is horror. So everyone here, and I've never ever in all these years, I've never made this request, but everyone that we highlight, every single filmmaker, male, female, ghoul, goblin, you know the drill. But check them out. Find them on a streaming platform. I usually highlight how I watch these movies on which platform, even if I rented it or bought it, so you guys know a little bit of the price range. It's important that we support all of these movies and all of these filmmakers because they are the future. The future is horror. Thanks for hanging out.